guys.
Hi,
Nice to see you here, Pascal.
Hi. As I want to chip in to encourage the project. Love what you're
Awesome.
doing.
Yeah, you're a great member in our community, so it's awesome to have you here.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Welcome to the 9th Eden Fractal event. We're getting up there in the numbers, and it's great to see everybody. How's it going, Matthias?
Good, thank you. I recovered mostly. Last week was really sick. Haven't had that in a while. And then my wife was also so, suffering so hard, and there was no time for fractally. But I'm happy to be back.
Glad to hear you're better. Okay.
Yes.
Well, glad to hear you're feeling better. And I think you said a couple of days ago that your wife was feeling better too. So I hope that she's feeling much better now too.
Yeah, she is. Thank you.
Hey, Thomas, great to see you here. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, what's up, Dan? Yeah,
Hi, Tom.
check it out. How's everyone
Cool.
doing?
Doing well. We're actually just talking with Pascal about the BitShares factor for a while as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we had a good talk yesterday about that. So I figured, if we're going to be the Dow of Dows, we got to, really peek our head in everyone's projects and, try and connect everything together to be more powerful.
Yes.
Yeah, welcome here. You go by Thomas on Hive, right?
Yeah, Thomas, can call me that, or Tommy or Thomas, and my Hive account's Highstein 1900.
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple of your posts on Hive. I think you talked about were you the one that put the spectator mode?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Nice.
We got a lot of people doing a lot of good work here. It's fun following all your guys' work, So I think we're going to accomplish a lot of things.
I think so.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you here as well. It's awesome having new members pop in every week.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad
Absolutely.
you're doing better, Matthias. I've caught something too. I don't know if it's I don't know, probably shouldn't even mention it, but yeah, I think everyone's getting sick with something, but I'm not feeling the greatest.
Yeah, I hear in your voice, Felix. I hope that you start feeling better soon.
Yeah, I think the worst has passed.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was sick for the past week or so, and it wasn't too fun. But now I'm feeling much better, which is great. So you got good things coming for you, Felix.
I must say one thing. It's comforting to hear that you're all sick, because I was fearing I was getting old, but it's basically something wrong. I had 2 weeks of it, but I'm all right now.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you're doing better, Lenny, and also welcome Dwayne too. Sorry I missed the Alien Worlds. Cool fractal stuff. I hope that went well, and great to see you again. Hope that your traveling last week was fun as well.
Yeah, super good. Back in beautiful Canada.
Nice. Do you have an EOS account, Tommy?
I was actually just about to ask you about that. I have set up on Anchor. I don't know. I've never actually used had anything sent or received to my EOS wallet. But would my address be like my account name? Does it work like that, or?
Yep.
I
that's
created
correct.
let me see. I did like Thomas at GM or .gm. Is that just it, like that?
Yep, that sounds like it.
Okay, yeah. It says, yeah, thomas.gm@active. So that would be my EOS like wallet address.
Yes. Well, the wallet address is just the thomas.gm. You don't have to worry about the @active part of it.
Oh, okay, but that's sufficient then for partaking in this meetings, right? Having that set up.
That's correct.
All right.
We've got a voting tool where you can type in your EOS account name as well as everybody else's account names in your breakout room, and put it in, level 6, level 5, and so forth. And then if you have access to your EOS account now, and then you can submit the vote on chain after the consensus submission is done, then that would be great, so that we can get everybody to submit it as well.
Where are we submitting on chain? Is it just like like in Fractally? We're going to post consensus like that.
Yeah, so
We
I just
do it
posted
like-
the link in the chat. So that's a tool that our developer Vlad built. And so once we reach consensus, you'll type in your group number and then the reached consensus, and then you'll submit it, and then that's going to post it on chain on the EOS network. And then we're cross-referencing it right now. We're working to hopefully be where that will automatically then work with the distribution. But yeah, they'll post it on chain, and then we use that to verify before we send out the distribution.
All right, cool. I will, let's see, I'll rename my name to put the EOS account there.
Cool, thank you, good idea. Welcome, Charles, and Das, and Vlad, and Mel, great to see you all.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate. I'm just listening in if that's okay. I'm working at the moment, so I'm listening in, but I'm going to contribute if I can.
Okay, cool, sounds good. Thanks, Mel. Hope you're doing well. We'll get started with the breakout room in 8 minutes. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts you'd like to share first?
Yeah, maybe just a recap of maybe any important things that were discussed last week. So last Wednesday was the first day of Pomelo. I personally couldn't make it. Maybe I'm not alone in that.
Okay. Yeah, so, well, as always, the recordings are on both the Eden Creators channel and Felix's channel, and Felix also makes excellent timestamps on the videos he puts up. So for one thing, we could just go look at the timestamps and then see what there is there as like a high-level overview. It might be a good idea. And then just off the top of my head, we had a great meeting. Vlad did a backflip for everybody, and so everybody was clapping, and then Tadas did a front flip. No, I'm just joking. We did do a bit of an Eden Fractal song in the beginning where Patrick was singing for us, which was fun. And then Felix was showing a Pomelo pitch for Eden Fractal, which seems like it might have had some issues we were talking about for a while. We were introducing with some new members. There's 5 new members who joined last week, which is really cool. And then Brock Pierce joined for a while, and he was saying hi to everybody, and that was really fun as well. And then we talked a bit more about like formal governance process and so forth, things like that, and tools and whatnot, plans for the future, which is still, I don't know if that's made any significant progress, but we're still waiting for the Fractally Genesis interim consensus process, or actually no, the Fractally Genesis contributor agreement to kind of do that. And then I think we're also going to adopt a consensus process or an interim consensus process where we can make rules and stuff like that, whereby people who are ranked 4, 5, or 6 in each week can vote on proposals that we'll vote on with Consortium, which is a voting app on EOS that Vlad built. That's really cool and helpful. And then also I just updated the website. over the past few days too. I know that Pascal had mentioned that the website wasn't very good previously, and it's still not very good, but it's much better than before. So I'd be curious to hear anybody's thoughts about that.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I would like to take on an effort to redesign the website. I'll do it on my own for free, and if you like it, we can use it. If not, just throw it away.
Cool. Yeah, sounds good. I don't mind at all. That'd be much appreciated. Do you have much experience making websites, Chris?
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
Design. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I'll give a quick update. Still working on trying to get the Pomelo grant approved. Basically, it's not a public good according to Pomelo to disperse the funds in this the way we're doing it through our meetings. So I'm working to rephrase the grant. It's going to be, the funds will be used for our developers who are building open source tools. Which that gives me a quick question to Vlad. Is the React app, is that open source? Do we have a like a GitHub repo for that?
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll get with you afterwards. I'll link that in the Pomelo grant. That'll help. But yeah, that's going to be like the pitch for the Pomelo grant. It's we'll be providing our public good will be all just open source tools. So if anyone wants to spin up their own Fractal on the EOS.io, they'll be able to use and reference the open source tools that's been built around this Fractal and use it however they please. But that's going to be the idea, and that should allow us to get have the grant available. And then hopefully once that's going, I'll be pushing that pretty hard on out to the community. Hopefully work with Jesse, see about maybe swarming that, and then also I'll get on some EOS fireside chats and talk about it as well.
Cool. Sounds great. Thanks for the update. And yeah, I think it'll be great to help fund Vlad for building these tools for sure. I think we can also talk with Daniel Keys and the Pomelo team at some point too about making the case for it being a Pomelo good. I think it's absolutely a public good. Like the ƒractal white paper talks about how this is probably the best mechanism alongside Pomelo for funding public goods. And also like we're making videos together every time that we do this, which is also public good, and anybody can join and earn and so forth. So it's very much a public good in my opinion. But I suppose that one of the things that Pomelo offers is an opportunity to make the case for that we can do over time. But yeah, thanks Felix for doing that.
I think it's Eden specific that's a concern. Or it should be EOS public specific.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's very much public good for EOS as a whole as well.
I agree. It might just be where the focus lies. If some way it could be something put in that's independently leaves something EOS rather than taken away if it decides to leave. Think of it that way. That helps. Just a guess though.
Yeah, Lenny asked in the chat about the sign agreement in the voting app. So I saw too, the React app now has a sign the agreement button. And as Vlad said, it won't let you sign since no agreement yet. We're working to get an agreement similar to the ƒractal contributor agreement, hopefully next week. And then also another thing that we can maybe discuss too related to the public good funding discussion is that so Patrick donated 600 EOS a couple weeks ago, and that will last until week 11 for 100 EOS per week, and then we'll have to figure out more funding. Also with all the stuff with Eden, I don't know if I'll have to fund something for the UI, and I don't know how much I'll be able to fund from my delegate funding for here, but that's something that we can discuss later. And by the way, we're going to break out into breakout rooms in about a minute. Normally for Tommy, I usually share a bit of a presentation with itinerary, but pretty much everybody is familiar with the fractal process here and has been here. And so we figured we'd skip that. Basically, the itinerary that we go with is that we break out breakout rooms in a minute. We have 40-minute breakout rooms. And the goal is to help Eden and help EOS. And I think that you're pretty new to EOS or Eden, or at least it seems like you're mostly involved with bit shares and fractaling and stuff like that. So that's awesome. You can just share whatever you've done to just join here and then introduce yourself and stuff like that. And it's very much appreciated that you're joining. And then after 40 minutes, then we'll meet back here in this room for the community room, and then we'll have discussions for at least an hour afterwards that everybody's welcome to join as well.
Good.
And it's 15 now, so if there's no further questions or anything like that, then I'll break out into the breakout rooms, and I hope that everybody has a great time.
Make sure to
Room's
catch your
open.
guys' room number for the group number in the app.
Yeah.
Good point. Yo, yo, yo. How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Very well.
Nice. Would anybody like to kick it off and start talking some contributions?
As usual, I'm short and sweet, so I go first since everyone is quiet. I put it in the chat if you don't mind. Unless there's big disagreement that I should be quiet right away. Up to you guys.
There's no disagreement from me.
No, fair enough.
I think it sounds good.
Go.
What do you say? Remain forever quiet or whatever it is. Okay. So anyway, what I've done, I in the past 4 weeks or so, I think I've been to one meeting. 2 weeks I was sick as a dog, and then I've been extremely busy catching up again. But I put on a chat basically what I do. And the main thing, which many of you know, is the recap channels that I'm doing. That takes not most of my time, but it takes a lot of time. So that's my main effort, and that's mainly related then to Eden member groups, Eden and Eden on EOS, and fractally both here, and of course the main big one that's developing, so to say. And so that's my main effort overall. And the links are there if you want to check up if I'm still doing them or not, and whatever. And no invites. I follow a fractal model here, how they describe from beginning on reporting. So anyway, no invites. And my last Eden fractal was, as I mentioned, once in a month I've been here or something. So I'm pretty low in that level. So that's about me. Besides that, of course, you have all the workshops, online meetings, whatever, talking strategy in Eden. And just yesterday, I think it was about the HIFA testing within the Eden team and similar. So both also, I just added things. That's all. Anyone have any questions before I guess I pass it on to the next one?
No, just you're doing an awesome job.
Thank you. Tadas, I'd like to hear you. I see you've been active too.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, this since last fractal meeting, I've been mostly sharing my white paper with the community through notifying all the people in the community I know, collecting feedback. And I also worked on a Pomelo pitch, and I will post a link to it in the chat. It's not approved yet, but I submitted only yesterday, so I expect it to be confirmed in the next couple of days. And yeah, so I did put in some work into the description field. I tried to capture the meaning of this project in the broader context of crypto, like how blockchain was initially thought as an answer to centralization and monopolies in the traditional finance and political world, and how we learned that it's not that successful in that regard, with all the mining pools, vote buying, and so on. And now we see projects like ƒractal, which use subjective human input to arrive at better outcomes. You also have initiatives like all kinds of proof of personhood protocols and so on. And yeah, but what we see is that these projects which take into account human subjectivity, even though they might arrive at better outcomes, they still live in their own world, and so we have like separate worlds, like traditional token-weighted governance and fractally kind of human governance. And I think there is a huge potential to be unlocked by uniting these two principles into one robust whole, so to say, one robust system, because then you would be able to tap into value from both worlds. And yeah, so more for those of you who don't know, the actual project is about how to utilize information from fractal consensus process to enable a fractal to influence on-chain governance, selection of BPs, using purely economic incentives. So no need for changes to underlying governance structure of a chain. And yeah, so that's basically the idea. And I will put also a link to the actual white paper in the chat. Thank you. Next, maybe Chris could. Chris, I think, is talking, so maybe Marco could go next.
Thanks, Tess.
Chris, if you want to go ahead.
I would like to go. I got to get out of here.
Okay.
I just got a call. My interview got moved up. Job interview. Well, since the last Fractal meeting, I haven't really produced anything tangible, but I participated in the Immutable Realms event on Sunday, like most of y'all did. I became an Eden member, and just trying to get more involved. Reaching out to people, seeing how I can help, and I'm going to spend some time working on redesigning the Eden Fractal website. I don't know how long that's going to take, but if you have any questions, please ask.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Chris. And yeah, regarding the website, please feel free to get in touch and we can talk about it. And then I hope that the interview goes great as well.
I'm going to be getting dressed right now.
Okay.
I'll be listening.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Would you like to go next, Marco?
Sure. I'd like to advocate for Tanis's white paper, which I took a look into and put up a little diagram for. And he does mention a couple of words that I didn't hear or read that should have been in there. He does. He brings it all together, which blockchain is both innovation and leveraging what's out there. It's not isolation. Instead, it's making the most of what's out there, because it gives everybody the opportunity to not only connect with things, but have things connect with your projects. So the spirit of blockchain is in Titus's idea. If something ever happens with briefings, the weekly newsletter that I put out, and there's a mellow pitch, I throw the link out there. We have recaps from Lenny. And if nothing else, they're probably the third independent opinion besides briefings and EOS Vision that don't have a direct influence like everything EOS now does, not when it started, and Hot Source now does, not when it started, where they have direct influence over the communities. So the opinions or the considerations will at the very least weigh on the minds of what's being presented. And at the same time, there's going to be interest that need to get out there. So it's more of a company newsletter than an independent viewpoint. So having the recaps from Money, having a vision on a daily thing, and having the briefings is just like any community member going out there and presenting the news for the thing, like an independent journalist out covering a war zone or something. You're not going to get it from either side. You're going to get the lens from someone experiencing it, which is important because that's how EOS was. That's how early EOS started. That's how Hot Sauce was for a while. Even though EOS Nation has always been a powerhouse, they never had influence over the chain until sort of recently. Even though they were a top producer, they were still always being uploaded. So I'm involved in all the fractals that are currently out there. Alien Worlds, this one, the Genesis, and part of the EOS Translation Foundation team, which probably has not much bearing here. They produced fractally little promo thing for Hive. I think it was last week, and I didn't directly invite anybody, but I have a little joint the discussion links that we can use. And I believe Jian is the only one who hasn't got it.
Yeah. Hello. I actually have a question about when we say about contribution. Does it mean contribution towards Eden specifically, like that? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So, did you get what I was asking?
Does it mean specifically towards Eden or to Eden or EOS? Is that your question, or?
Yeah, like if you you said develop the software, so that counts towards Eden, right? And like that. And if I say I attended, like say the HiFiDAO meeting yesterday, that, does that count? Or
yeah, it's the goal is to help Eden and EOS. Anything that helps Eden and EOS helps. Joining a meeting and helping to represent Eden and learning tools that can help Eden and EOS, something that is a helpful contribution.
Oh, thank you. That case, I would say specifically to Eden, I think I invited 2 people into the Discord channel, so that's it. And I don't think I contributed anything much directly to Eden. And like I said, I've been attending all the events I can attend. So the town hall show, the HiFiDAO meeting yesterday, and like that, I've been attending all the events I can, and I mostly attending and listening and learning more about Eden and ƒractal, and yeah, that's all. And I've been not directly, but then testing out some stuff for some projects. And also there's a project called EO2 that's they are trying to bring the carbon market, and they're going to tokenize that, and that runs on EOS. So they are not familiar with the EOS community, so I've been helping out, getting him into the groups and all, the EOS group and the main EOS group. inviting him to the Discord link, and that's all. That's all.
Cool. Thanks, Jan. And also, I've been noticing that you've been doing a lot of like fixing bugs and figuring things out in the CTF group too. So that's also a good contribution to an EOS app. So thank you very much for that, as well as all the other great things you're doing. I love to see all the awesome work that you've been doing kind of coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, what can I do, that stuff. So I love working at the CTF. That's nice. So everyone responds, and yeah, I feel like I can do something there. And like that on the EO2 project also, I think that's a great project, and I would like to explain it when we get to the main room. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. I suppose that I'll go now that we have Chris looking slick and with a nice patriotic tie. Cool. Okie dokie. So I'll share a brief presentation about some things I've been doing for Eden and EOS, and most in particular, Eden and ƒractal. So yesterday I put out the tweets on the Eden ƒractal Twitter account for the 7th and 8th. I put them both at the same time because we had that issue technically a couple weeks ago with a smart contract. And so just to catch it up, to make it so everybody can see it every week when they earn, and hopefully like every day after they participate. And then I posted it in like, I don't know, like 8 or 9 different Telegram channels and so forth to help spread the word. But I also proposed the MSIGs and did a lot of just like little tedious manual work to make sure that all the numbers were correct and stuff like that, and all that to just make sure that people are getting the EOS and Eden respect and whatnot. Did some communication with the multi-sig holders as well, and then I spent a while doing some website updates to edenfractal.com. So I made it much simpler. I kind of changed or added a bit of a intro statement here, which I think is a good kind of a mission statement, helping Eden and EOS grow to empower communities. So I did that on the Twitter profile as well. And then I made a lot of pictures, and these are just a few of the pictures that showed up, but I added some trees for the ƒractal and then made it more colorful with blue and green, and added a videos page and a details page with cool visuals, and also with this cardioid image, which is got some really cool representations that James Marge shared in the Eden ƒractal marketing channel over the past couple of weeks. You can check it out. On the videos page, it opens up like a simple kind of visual, and then people can watch all the videos that I've been posting on the Eden Creators channel, as well as the videos that Felix has been posting on Felix's channel. And so I think this is a cool resource where once people learn about Eden ƒractal, right away they can see all the great people and all the great contributions that we're doing here. So I'll keep updating this videos page at edenfractal.com/videos. And I also did an update to the details page as well, where I provided more details. And a lot of this was written earlier when we first started, but now that we're kind of rolling more, there's some updates. I also added some more art and made it clear with some rules and requirements, just to make sure that everybody has an EOS account when they attend and so forth. And yep, so that's that for the Eden ƒractal site. Just kept it really simple, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Chris will propose and add for the future of the Eden ƒractal website. It can certainly be much further improved, but I think this is a big improvement for now. I also helped induct Chris, by the way, into Eden, so that was cool too. And then I also made a lot of improvements to the Eden Creators website, which was previously having a lot, but now it's got a much simpler design, empowering creators and communities with Web3, helping everyone cooperate ƒractal and make the best experience possible. And so now on the homepage, it features Eden ƒractal prominently, and then a button for videos, a button for garden, which I'll show you in a minute, a button for events, and a button for the about page. So just to show you those quick, the videos page, I also kind of revamped this a little bit. I've been working on the Eden Creators YouTube channel quite a bit over the past weeks and months and so forth, as I try to just move it over slightly. So there's playlists from the Eden ƒractal, from all the Eden Town Hall videos, from all the Fractally meetings, from the first one I added there. So, and then also the hot sauce, which I host every week, and the Alien Worlds Fractal and the Intro Alien Worlds and Fractal and EOS brainstorming sessions, intro to Eden and Fractally, and some originals. So just trying to collect a lot of content that'll be really helpful to share the benefits of Eden and EOS and Fractally here, and we'll continue to update this. The garden, which is a little bit off right now in terms of how it should be formatted, but I made some cool visuals, and then basically the garden is to have a place where both it's a place where we can make more fractals, or there's a whole bunch of fractals that I'm aiming to start, like music fractals and so forth. So it's a place to collect these, and then also as a place to show a lot of writing that's in progress and so forth. So there's lots of notes that I've had for the past months and years and so forth that are collected here about Fractally and EOS and Eden Fractal, and how we can empower the communities with Eden Fractal. It's not loading as fast as I would like it to right now, but you can scroll through and see lots of projects that are related to Eden Fractal, and then keep scrolling further to see more projects that are related to Eden and CTF and DAP and network and fractal forms and stuff like that. So it's basically a resource where lots of things I've been working on that are all very related to Eden Fractal and EOS and so forth are all in one spot. And then events, I put together some weekly events that we have every week with this event first, and then a bunch of other EOS and Eden and Fractal events, and then also put some pictures for each one as well, so that people can come to the website and see lots of great things, especially for the first time that they join. And then the about page has what was previously there, which is some cool art, and with more details about what I'm doing with Eden Creators, which is basically to help grow Eden Fractal and EOS and Fractally and so forth. So that's all there. And then in addition, I spoke a bit on the Helios Twitter Spaces about Eden Fractal and about EOS. And then I've just been also helping with Zeos and several other projects, including the Pomelo hot sauce pitch. And then I also participated in the Fractal Fiction event too. And then I also co-hosted the Eden Town Hall show about that too. So that's that. And thank you everybody for listening. Hope you all enjoy. Sorry if that was a bit long. I forgot to set my timer, and we have 20 minutes left.
Not at all. It's nice little update too.
I'm sorry, what's that, Marco?
I said not at all, and it's a nice little update too. The one that stood out was the garden. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you well, and thank you, Marco. I'm glad that you appreciate the garden. I'm very excited about it too.
Well, the idea stands out. And now on the topics of idea, has anyone heard or recall Dan Larimer talking about how Fractally as an idea, as a concept, needs to work even before the programming does?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what you mean, but
I said it in
yes.
this place, is that if the concept of Fractally, if the design, if the idea, if the wording, if the white paper doesn't work, then why would you expect the program to eventually hold up? So on that, I push for Tadas' idea. Not all, whether it works or not, at the very least, it deserves its time in the spotlight to be tried. It is an advancement in an idea.
I have to go. I'll just go with whatever you guys vote.
You want to say anything real quick?
No, unless y'all got questions. I mean, I really got to get going, but I can do my voting when I get back if it's possible.
The voting
Or we got-
ends in an hour and 20 minutes. So if it's possible to do it before then, and you could just vote whatever we vote, then that'd be helpful. But if not, then that's okay.
I'll vote with whatever you guys do. So just ignore me. Whatever consensus you reach, I'll submit or whatever. I'm sorry. This one got pushed up 30 minutes. I was going to be here the whole time.
We still have a consensus anyway, so most likely. So that shouldn't no issues. Let's put it that way.
Oh, thank you.
Have fun at the interview.
Good luck.
Good luck. Yeah.
Good luck, man.
Think fractally, then it helps.
So, all right, so Tadas has a new idea, and it's an idea that connects the other ideas as well. So it's not just something that can be implemented, it's something that also looks to advance things that already exist. The other one, of course, is always Dan, but Dan's hosting and he's always in the top, so we really don't worry much about it, whether it was you're loading him 6 from week in to week out. And since Lenny has been consistent with the recaps, I believe they're important. I just don't know if he's ever been rewarded for them. But I did vote for his project today, so I consider that part of the rewards. And in the future, I'd love to get him in the spotlight. But today, I still believe with the white paper, the research, the work, and the resiliency in trying to punch holes in it, Tadas' ideas stays up and should at the very least be in mind that you could have a community. We can vote to give people respect, and those respecters could represent or be that bridge of diplomacy between the stakeholders or the token holders and the block producers. And we all know that's been a heck of an issue. And the other thing that people generally kind of don't pay attention to is how nimble it can be, because we're meeting here every week. So stuff like this can change in a heartbeat if there's a major issue. So we don't have things lingering as they have in the past for months and months. I see all those things possible with Tadas' idea. So if he's ranked last, fine, but as long as that's very nice.
Thank you, Marco. I really appreciate that you understand my idea. Like I can really see that you understand it and see potential in it the way I do. And I liked what you said in the beginning. I totally agree. I think fractally concept is powerful as an idea, and it's powerful beyond just as one blockchain, one community. It can be utilized in a lot of different places, and my project shows that. I think. Well, I think I intend to prove that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've only had the chance to read maybe the first like 3 pages so far to dust, but I very much enjoyed and appreciate it as well from what I've read and understood, and I'm looking forward to reading more, and then also the interview that we'll do. Yeah, so thanks so much for putting all that work together. We already spoke about that last week too, but yeah, I'm glad to see that you have the Pomelo pitch going and stuff like that. Shall we do the Zoom voting mechanism to get into the?
Totally. But if you want, I did put together a diagram. If you'd like to see it, if Tadas approves, if you want. Otherwise, he's got a similar diagram in the white paper.
Yeah.
Oh, please, yes.
I don't know if we have time, but yeah, Marco put together a diagram which I think might be useful for people to understand. And so yeah, in my eyes, it's also his contribution for this week.
If I put in just my own comment, my own view, I basically, because I actually went back a little bit, check on the levels for the last few weeks on Tadas and Dan, because basically, I mean, Dan is doing a heck of a lot of work. Tadas have been working on this for a while. And when you look at the rewarding and similar, I have Tadas and Dan myself for this particular time above the same level. But Tadas, I feel, he was high ranked last meeting, but earlier not so much. And of course, there was nothing to prove, nothing to show. Now we have shown it. I have not had time to read it and fully understand it. I only gone about like Dan halfway or something. And I would put Tadas myself actually up on top there. just because it's completed, it looks extremely comprehensive and good. And sorry about that, Dan, but just want to mention that. And maybe we do that screenshot after we elected or something. So we
I
don't-
just posted the image if you want to see it, but yeah, Tadas has been talking about this idea for a few weeks. And the work has been a bit more than a week. So that's why I'm pushing for Tadas.
Okay. I'm also, I've been following Tadas's work and speaking with Tadas for a long time with the ƒractal and EOS brainstorming sessions. And so I'm really excited to fully understand this idea. And from what I understand, I appreciate. I would also advocate for myself too. I have been doing quite a lot of work for Eden ƒractal and for EOS and Eden in general for nonstop for a very long time now. And for several weeks, I've been basically advocating to rank other people higher in several situations. And I've been kind of leading this initiative in many ways between doing all the work with the website and doing the work technically to make sure that everybody gets the distributions and then the Twitter stuff, in addition to all the work with the hot stuff and everything like that, which takes quite a lot of time. And currently Vlad is ranked higher than me in the total rankings. And so I feel like as somebody who's dedicating so much time and energy towards this, and a lot of things that I did in the at the outset, especially in terms of promoting this in all sorts of different places, then I would appreciate to be ranked 6, but also I'm happy to rank Tadas as number 6 if you guys prefer as well.
Gonna remember that. I would say this. I see Dan's influence like the Speaker of the House. He can't announce and then sit in the chair. So it's nice to see someone ahead of the guy holding the microphone in the top spot. That said, if Dan ever fell below 3, I'd be concerned. And if he ever fell below 5, I'd take the initiative to bump him up. I'll take a look at that and definitely keep that in mind in the future. And definitely mind until we need more attention on the recaps. Thank you for the grant, Dan. It's almost good.
You're welcome. Although it's a little bit difficult to hear you, Marco, the last like couple sentences. I'm sorry.
Yeah, never mind. Let's move on.
Okay, cool. So should we vote in the Zoom chat?
Shall we do it ways number 6, same time, and then number 5 and number 4, or how do we do?
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, that's easy, straightforward, and then we see if there's anything to argue about.
Okay. Does everybody already have their vote? I'll write this, rank 6. Okay. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. Consensus.
Das has, well, right now there's only somebody didn't vote, it looks like.
I don't understand why my message didn't go through. It seems.
No, yours went through. It's the new legend who's didn't go through. Jordan, are you trying to vote?
Weird. I don't see my initial message for some reason.
I see 2 of your votes. Or 2
No,
of
we
your messages.
need Sean to vote.
Gion, are you there? He might be having internet issues. I know he does sometimes.
So having some issues. So
Okay.
I can't seem to hit enter.
You can't seem to what?
Are we 5 out of 6 voting, or are we counting? Because if we are, then basically, I mean, the votes now are 5 people voting. So if 4 of us have consensus, in case Jon cannot manage to get through, well, how do we operate? As a 5 group or as a 6 group?
I think
John's still there, and I heard him speak, so we can wait for a while.
Yeah, I think that generally speaking, that Chris's votes would count for whoever has the most votes. But then that's probably the easiest way to go. But you know what's going on? You're just not able to use the Zoom chat. If you prefer to just say it, then you can just say it. I heard you were able to say something.
Yeah, I switched to mobile, and I think I'm having some problem. I don't know.
Okay.
Can I say that, or do I have to put in the chat?
You could do it either way. I mean, chat is best if you can, but if you can't do the chat, then you can just say your vote. So can you say something?
Yeah.
Or do something?
I am and I'm inclined to go with Taras.
Okay, cool.
And yeah,
sounds great. So we got
because
to
I think, I am reading that white paper, and for me it is hard. I'm having a very hard time understanding it all, but it seems a lot of work, and I know you've been doing a lot of work too. But you know, it's
sounds good. I'm happy to go with Taras as well. So we should keep on moving because we only have about 5 minutes left now. So now we'll do rank 5. Is everybody ready? Okay.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, and go.
I'm going to change mine to Dan. I know Lenny's not going to get appreciated, but at the end, Rodney Dangerfield wins the diving competition.
He's worked harder than me, believe me.
But yes, but the audience is the same.
That's true.
He's the same perspective. So once in a while, we need somebody to come up, and I strongly believe I'm a pilot. So if you don't get this quick recaps, you can miss real important information. It's a big deal.
Appreciate it.
You're consistent.
Okay, cool.
I haven't seen you or voted for you, so that's why I'm pushing for you, Lenny. Oh, did I change it? I verbally changed it. I changed it.
Okay, so it looks like I've got 4 out of 5 here. So now we can go on to rank 4. Is everybody ready?
Not quite, but almost.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
I defer Tadas' vote from me to Lenny, if that's at all possible. I know not every governing system would do that, but it should be. If somebody votes for you, you can redelegate it to who you want. So I'll ask Tadas to change his vote to Lenny.
That's fair, I guess. Okay, I don't mind voting for Lenny too. Yeah.
I do the same for EOS Vision at least once.
Yeah, it's a friendly competition.
Okay. The one thing I hated was in the 80s, in rush hour traffic, going to the newsstand and only seeing one paper on the thing. So everybody took all the papers. I loved reading the Wall Street Journal, New York Times side by side. When once in a while, one of them would be missing. I did not like it. So.
Okay, well, we better get on voting, then we can take more comments. I want to say something too, but let's continue. Dan, you're the boss.
Okay. So if everybody's ready for, actually, no, I'm sorry, I messed it up. We're doing level 3 now. If everybody's ready, then three, two, one, go.
I actually, sorry, I messed up here. I changed mine to Marco. Sorry, John. He just jumped off out of scare. So
John's right. Oh, there he is.
mine is Marco. Typos.
Okay.
Wrong thinking.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'll say John for level 2, just because Chris isn't here. But I gotta vote Chris higher because I believe his opinions are echoing through the community. It's a little bit louder each week.
Yeah, I also have John as 2.
Okay, I very much appreciate both their work, but I think my vote would be for Joan here. Should we do it via the Zoom chat or just come to consensus and speaking word?
Those in favor of John, to make it quick.
Neat. Okay. So
And
Joan
if,
is level 2.
and if Chris delivers on our website next week, I gotta rank him 6 just because he's been around and I think maybe he has the spirit of what we're doing. Or 5 at least, something.
Do we have all the names properly, all the codes?
Oh, that's right. Here's my, we need the wallet. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's,
Yeah. I just put my ES account name in there. So did Marco. So did
I put
Das.
it in too.
Okay.
Gion, is your EOS account name the new legend?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me? I don't know.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I am just having problem with the chat. I think. I don't know.
anybody remember Christian's account?
I think it may be cac.xyz, but I'll double check it in the on-chain transaction from last time. I'll also go to close the rooms now, and then we
That's
can
right.
figure out there.
Oh,
Okay, cool. Thanks everybody for the great meeting. This was fun. I hope everybody had a good time.
Same.
Close rooms, 60 seconds left.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Maxim.
Hello. Hey, Jorge.
Roman warrior.
Hey, Jorge. Sorry.
Hey, what's up?
Hope everybody had a great time. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, we did.
Nice.
I don't know. I guess if everyone's still kind of posting things, you do so. I guess I'm gonna kind of kick us off with a couple of questions towards Dan, since I haven't seen the chief delegate meeting yet. So I was just curious on how that went. If the increase from 5% to 15% is going to be done in time for the next distribution, and also how is that going to work with the I guess I didn't notice, I just noticed it the other day that we can collect our first distribution of funds. So is that going to be multiplied as well, or do you have a little bit more insight on that?
Yep. So we did ratify the bylaw change at the most recent chief delegate call, and I believe that we're just waiting for it to technically happen on chain with the smart contract update. Because of course, just ratifying it doesn't actually change the distribution. And I think I read a message yesterday from Edgar Medania saying that he thinks that it'll be done before the 8th, I think, which is the next distribution. So I believe that the first distribution will only be at the 5% level. And it seems like there's a good chance that the next distribution will be at the 15% level, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
And
that does, I guess, I mean, this may be a little unrelated, so I won't go too deep. It does raise a question though, as far as like the first distribution, why if is it because it got ratified after the first distribution? And but either way, that's good. I think that's going to be good enough as far as like I'll be able to keep the 100 EOS a week going for the Eden Fractal with the increase. Yeah, I should be able to. I need to look at the numbers, but I think you said we're good till week 11, Dan.
yeah, we're currently good to week 11 based on what Patrick has generously donated, and then get to figure out after from there too. And as I said, I also have funding too. But I'm going to be talking with Jesse later today because I'm also planning to support the bees, and then also it looks like the chief delegates might need to help fund the actual election too. So I have to figure out exactly how much I'll be able to help support the Eden Fractal as well. But that's something we can discuss in the coming days and stuff like that. And we have a couple weeks to figure it out.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and then another thing was I know Vlad said that he's worked the smart contract with to where the user agreement, like it now it will be, once it's ready, we'll be able to sign it. So I guess we're gonna find out this Saturday if the user agreement for Fractally will be ready. If not, then I think next meeting we need to discuss about probably having some alternative just so we get going and we're not delayed and waiting on Fractally for their user agreement. And then we can keep pushing forward with getting some processes in place so that we can start reaching consensus on proposals and kind of building out a little bit more of a governance layer within here, because I am very interested in exploring. I still need to go and make some time with Tadas' white paper. I'm not sure how much that discusses as far as like liquidity pools. And so that's interesting too. When we make it, or if we make that switch, and like also we need to reach consensus within here, but we need to have some process in place to be able to do that too. So these are kind of all next steps that I'm thinking of, like where we probably will start to focus on. But right now, just we'll see what happens on the 6th. But if anybody knows or have heard anything about the user agreement too, please share.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Yeah, I don't think that there's been any new news about that, but hopefully this Saturday we'll get more information. If anybody hasn't submitted your results yet on the React app, then please do that to make sure that we get at least 4 out of 6 from each room who do so. There's also the way that the Genesis practically did it is that if you don't submit your consensus results on there, then you don't get respect, which hasn't been something that we've done because I wasn't really aware of that until a couple weeks ago. But that's also something that we should probably do as well to make sure that everybody does it. But for now, we'll just keep it simple.
I'm having some trouble with that. Sorry. I didn't exactly get the order. So is that the one in chat? So I can see that now.
Yep, I just posted in the chat a couple minutes ago, the Eden Fract front web app.
Yeah, I got that. The order in now grew. So I got that. I'll do that now.
Okay, sounds good.
And I won't be able to stick around too long. I'm gonna have to hop off probably here at the half hour. So not sure if anybody else wants to drive the meeting afterwards, but yeah, I'd like to open it up to anyone who wants to, bring up anything of like next steps or any conversation, something that went well in your breakout room. Yeah, love to hear it.
Yeah, we had an interesting discussion. Jorge brought up that self-voting. So we discussed self-voting, and that self-voting may cause less accurate measurements. And we were talking back and forth. I think there's some validity there. I'm not like fully convinced, at least not yet. But yeah, it was interesting. Maybe Jorge can tell the rest of the group about it.
Thank you. At every meeting I've been since I discovered this, I've been advocating for people to not self-rank themselves at any moment of the process. I say people can advocate for themselves at any moment. They can say at any moment, hey guys, I think the result is being unfair. I'll think I deserve a higher ranking. But at no moment, any person can affect the measurement by self-ranking. And Jesse has a very strong point, which is that despite the fact that in most of the rooms I've been, the measurements have been pretty nice, meaning that, for example, in current room I was today, the environment was pretty nice. People were focusing on ranking other teams and finding the best for the system. That wouldn't necessarily happen if the amounts of the price at stake were higher. For example, if the top price were 100 EOS instead of 14 EOS, then probably some people will say, fuck that, Jorge, I'm gonna rank myself first. And that will create a whole different set of dynamics. So I would like to call to action or to think to all the people that have been in rooms with me and in those rooms that we haven't self-ranked, the overall results on the overall environment versus the rooms in which self-ranking has been allowed, to see if we can further our thought process about this. Because the moment one person says, I'm not going to allow you to prevent me from self-ranking, I'm voting myself first because the price is really high, at that moment, other people are going to pop up to do the same, and the whole system is going to become less quality. So I think that will be detrimental to us as a ecosystem, as a, how to say, as a governance process. I think that will be detrimental to the best of what we can get to be. So I'd like you guys to think about it. Felix?
Yeah, thank you, Jorge. Yeah, I shared in my room also, I liked the way I shared it with my room too, is I felt like this is probably the go-to process. Is the idea is you first let everyone vote without yourself, but then if you wanting to vote for yourself after those votes are casted without yourself, then you advocate. So I did that as an example in one of the Fractal Genesis meeting. It was I was in a room with Jay Taylor, and the votes were split half 50-50, Jay and me, and since we all agreed not to vote for each other, we voted for, one vote was against, like my vote was for Jay and Jay was for his, but then I also wanted to advocate for myself, like had I voted for myself, or like I would have, but it was good because you see where everyone's minds are at without it's reducing noise. I like that way of like kind of defining it. But then I was still able to advocate and say, had I voted for myself, though, I would want to, but it was good because it allows first people to take a step back and look where the room is without you kind of forcing your voice out there. I don't know. I like the process. I think that that's probably the go-to process. I think if people don't want to do that and they want to vote for themselves, I mean, I think that's, they can do whatever they want, but is that generally, I don't know. You're like, why not first vote, remove yourself from the vote, and then advocate for yourself afterwards? That's the same thing, but except you're doing it in a way where you're reducing noise by not voting for yourself. Like, had you taken yourself out of the picture?
Pascal?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Zoe. Since we started this process, even in the Genesis, I've experienced the two type of decision making, where we vote for ourselves, and then another one where we don't vote for ourselves. In both of the case, it works very well. This process is building with two things that we forgot: the randomness and then the discussion we have. So each week, I don't know who I will be in the system. So somebody may come and say, okay, I want to vote for myself. And some will say, okay, I don't want to vote for myself. So I don't know individually if we force this. So the randomness is a security measure in the system by itself, by its nature. The second thing I notice we have, which is good, is the discussion process. We can always change our vote. We can share, we can discuss, we can ask questions. If somebody say, okay, fuck that, I'm voting for myself, and then because the token is $100, we can discuss. We can, okay, why do you think you are the person? So the randomness and the discussion we have in the process built in is a strong element we have. So I will advocate that we just leave people, if they want to vote for yourself, let them do it. I see like somebody going to a job to apply for a job, and he has to sell himself to the boss. So why am I employing you? So voting ourselves, the way I see it, is a way of selling ourselves to our peers to say, okay, guys, this is what I think I need this first place. So that's my.
I'd like to thank you, Pascal. I'd like to argue against that point. Really, advocating for yourself is different from voting for yourself. Advocating for yourself is at any moment you're saying, guys, I really think my contribution this week or to this whole process needs to be ranked higher because A, B, C, and D, and I need you guys to understand it. And trust the team, trust the judgment of the team that they are gonna, because they are not ranking themselves too, they don't have self-interest in that, they are being the most neutral possible, that they'll be fair with you. That's different from you affecting the measurement and saying, okay, I'll vote for myself. Let's suppose we have the most selfish person here, which happens also to be the most charismatic, and he says, fuck it. The price today for this week is $100 million because it's the annual meeting of the Eden Fractal team, and I'm going to vote for myself. And we end up with in a group where everybody votes for himself. And if they don't get to the top spot, then everybody votes for himself to the second best spot. And at the end of the day, there is no measurement at all. There is just a dominance over people's minds by economical incentives and reputation incentives. So guys, I've been in rooms, for example, with Felix, in which he really made a great contribution and he was ranked last in that meeting. And that was really unfair. And the next meeting, he was ranked best spot. And on average, because of the factors you're mentioning, Pascal, his rank has been pretty fair, but it's noisy. But it's going to be a lot more noisier if we allow egos and special egos entangled with economical incentives, which is what hopefully is going to happen here. At the moment, prices get bigger and bigger. So please, guys, advocating for yourself is not the same as voting. The moment, the voting moment is the moment in which you cannot be a measurement tool and a measurement device at the same time. At any experiment in science and engineer, the same tool you're using for doing the measurement cannot be the object of the measurement. That's a blatant contradiction that we cannot allow to happen here within our inception process, because it's going to propagate if we allow it to happen.
Okay. I would just like to voice my opinion quickly and say that I really don't think that this is a big issue. I think we've talked this subject quite a bit, and personally, I'm quite bored with this subject of voting for yourself. So I'd be happy to move on, but also, of course, if Tadas and Lenny have any thoughts about this, then please feel free to share. You guys have your hands raised, so I'm interested to hear what you guys think.
Lenny, you had your hand raised first. You're muted.
Yes. No, I just wanted to stress that I think some of the guys in room 2 here in the chat, you did a small typo, that the new legend was wrong spelled, I believe. Look at the Zoom screen here and correct it. I'm not sure if the app you can go in and change it after or not, but I just wanted to highlight that. I don't know if we do as in the big ƒractal, basically we fail if we don't get everyone to say the same.
Yeah, I think I was one of the people who made the typo in the chat, but I've submitted the right spelling in the app.
Yeah, I saw in the chat here the errors, but I don't see what you posted in the app. So that's why I just wanted to highlight that. That was all I wanted to flag. And then hopefully everyone check if it's needed. Thank you.
Thanks, Lenny. I think we're good. I'm looking at it now, and Maxim just shared the table, I believe, where all the results are shared, and it looks like we have 4 from our room, and it looks like we're all in agreement. So I think they're good.
Tadas, you want to go?
Yeah, I wanted to share some thoughts about the self-voting question, and I think where I disagree with Jorge is that voting is not the means of measurement we are using here. That's the way I see it. The point is to reach consensus, and voting is just a tool we use to break the initial ice to get our each other's thoughts initially. So I think that's the reason. I think that's why we put too much importance on self-voting, because I think voting is not the point. The point is reaching consensus. And in the beginning, in ƒractal Genesis, we didn't even use voting. We just discussed and proposed and then talked about it. So yeah, I don't see the difference between voting and self-advocating, because voting is just the expression of an opinion in this process. It's not the means of measurement. That's the way I see it.
I'm in agreement, Tadas, and also I think that when the user interface is more available, then this won't be relevant anyway. So we've spoken about this quite a bit. I think it's fine however the group wants to do it. The concerns that Jorge was bringing up are sort of more long-term, but by that time, then we'd probably be using a different interface. So I would advocate on moving on to a different topic that's more that's more interesting and exciting, and that'll be more helpful for the group overall. That's just me though. Maybe people more interested in this, but to me, it's just like voting, not voting for yourself. I don't really care. Just do whatever you want. It's fine either way. Let's focus on creating value. But that's me. Felix?
Yeah, well, I do think that this is a good conversation to have. I think I think there is something there when we're talking about discussing noise, and this could have impacts on how the software is built, because when you choose not to vote for yourself, when you remove yourself from the vote, then you cannot vote and add noise and troll. If we're like, no, I'm only voting for myself, and if like you can you can kind of bully by only voting for yourself if you refuse to vote for anybody else. So removing yourself from that equation, I think, has an impact. And that's why I think, at the end of the day, anyone can do what they want, but that's why I think first vote, then advocate. If you want to advocate for yourself, then you do so after you removed yourself from the equation of voting. I think there's something there. So I don't think we should just, dismiss this. I know it may not be an interesting topic, but I think it's, I don't know, it's created enough conversation that we're talking about it. So.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Dan, because he highlights a very strong point, which is that the ultimate decision is going to be whatever the UI says. So if we allow self-ranking, for example, and some very extroverted and charismatic person says what just Dan did, which is, hey, this is a boring subject, guys. Let's gather together here and forget about those very specific details. Then the natural herd behavior of people is going to flock with that charismatic person, and the exact same result that I'm trying to prevent is going to happen, which is that the most charismatic, even if they are not bigger contributors, self-ranking people will go to the top, and our system will be in disadvantage to other systems that don't allow this self-ranking. So I get this.
But Jorge, as Sadas was saying, the vote isn't really a vote. It's just a signal to reach consensus. Like, for example, in our room today, I advocated for myself and I voted for myself, but the group wanted to vote for Tadas. And so we went with Tadas. And so it wasn't a big deal. Like, we just did the votes, but the votes were only to get to consensus. And so I wasn't able to hold up the group and say, no, you guys have to vote for me, because it was what the group wanted to do. Not everybody was trying to do that. There hasn't been a situation in which, in all these groups I've been to like 40 of these different groups, there's never been a situation in which like everybody's just trying to win, and people go with whatever the consensus is, because we have to reach consensus to be able to come to consensus and for anybody to get anything. So I don't see the issue. Like, you've explained it many times, and I think that, one, the interface is going to change it so that it's going to have that really cool mechanism where rather than voting in Zoom, you're going to be voting or just like positioning the different rankings in the UI. But before then, like, it just, whether you type it in the Zoom chat or whether you say it and advocate for yourself, either way, like, I don't think that these are risks that the group is actually experiencing. And I think that we're best off focusing on some other things that we can do as a group to accomplish to create value for the group. Like, for example, getting the governance process set up and so forth. Does that make sense, do you think?
I think, well, I have a question. What UI are we going to use? The one produced by ƒractal?
Well, the one that the ƒractal team is producing is going to be open source, and it seems like it's going to be like very good and very helpful. So I would say that that's probably the one that we should use. And we'll have to see exactly how everything goes, but it seems like a superior method.
Yeah, to be frank, that issue with the UI, if we are going to use the UI produced by ƒractal, then this whole discussion really is pointless. Yeah, whatever the UI allows us to do is what we are going to do if we are going to use that UI. However, as Felix just pointed out, this decision can affect whatever UI we actually end implementing ourselves. First point. And second point, I didn't wanted to bring this subject, but one of the members asked about it. It's really interesting. Just he asked about it, so I elaborated on it. And third point, the whole proof that there is something here is that you self-voted for yourself and you are pretty emotional about it. Please take that into consideration. You are affecting the measurement of your group and you are affecting the measurement of this whole meeting because consistently you are being self-ranking yourself in the top spots. And I don't want to, well, and during the first meetings and the first results, you were consistently being the highest ranking. It was after self-ranking was being shown as affecting the system that began to change. So please excuse me for taking you as an example, but I need to highlight this because I see there is a greater good that we need to promote for.
Okay, it's no problem. And just to also respond, in most cases, I have been advocating for ranking other people. I think that like this ƒractal process provides an opportunity to like provide extra respect for people that you're working with. And so in most cases, I've been voting people to be above myself, but not to make it too much about me. And I see that Das had his hands up, and also and they're down, I guess, now that Felix has his hands up, and the new legend. So what's up, everybody? And yeah, if anybody wants to share something fun, then that'd be cool. Sorry if I've been a little bit off. I've just been working a lot, and like I'm really excited about how this ƒractal process can like help people have fun and bring people together and like empower communities. And I don't know, like sometimes when we talk about the same subject, I just get a little bit tired of it, and I want to move on to like creating the value that I know that we can all create. So sorry if I've been a little bit too I don't know, sharing my opinion too strongly about this. And thank you, of course, Jorge, for sharing all your thoughts. It's very much appreciated. The great work that you're doing for the community. But yeah, Felix or new legend.
Yeah, no worries, Dan. Yeah, we gotta, I appreciate, your comments that you just made right now. I think it's just important. We gotta respect, like, I could tell, yeah, if you're busy and like, there's a lot going on. I can see, it's good that we're voicing this all out, right? We're fleshing this out. This is how we read, like, we are real with each other. We express what we feel, and, sometimes we may not like it, but we're being real, and that's the best thing that we can do. I do feel like this is an important discussion. And last thoughts on that, but also, feel free to prompt a new discussion as well afterwards. But the whole idea, I think that, that's got me really thinking a lot about, it's like, okay, so we provide value by reaching consensus by voting. How are you providing true value if you just vote for yourself? Like, I don't know, there's something there. I do think removing yourself from the vote and then advocating afterwards is probably the best way to go about it. But again, I think things are starting to become circular. So yeah, I am fine with moving on, but I think that's probably the best way I would like to summarize the stances. Vote, removing yourself, then advocate afterwards. I can, it's in the last video. Actually, no, it's on the ƒractal video, but I did that exact same thing. And like, it was a perfect example. Like it was a tie, Jay and I, and I voted for Jay, but then afterwards, like, it was still kind of a tie. Nobody really said anything. And so I had to step up and advocate for myself, because I did want that top vote, but I removed myself from the equation, saw where everyone else was at. Because let's say the vote was like 4-2 Jay, I still would have or 4-1 Jay, I still would have advocated for myself, but that may not have changed things. And that would have also got me thinking a little bit more of like, well, like afterwards, I would have been like, well, the group went with Jay over me. Do I need to think a little bit about how I'm evaluating myself? So I think that it adds a little bit more of self-reflection by removing yourself from the vote and first seeing how everybody else wants to vote. Because if you're worried about voting for yourself and then getting everybody else to vote for you, then you're not really trying to reach consensus first. You're trying to force your vote in, because when you vote for somebody else and then you advocate, then somebody can always be like, well, you voted for this person and you're advocating for yourself, but you see, you also voted for them. So there's some legitimacy for maybe you to maybe consider if the consensus is reaching towards what you voted for too, to like, you know, take the step back. I don't know. I think it, like I said, it's just good for like self-reflection purposes, but anyways, yeah, I don't want to continue on too much about that, but thank you. Gian.
I'm not saying anything about the voting for ourselves and all, but I think I have many confusion regarding the voting system. So, and Dan has made clear it's a means to reach consensus, and I think in our group, yes, and last time I was with Taras, so he said he didn't have anything to, he worked hard, but he didn't have anything to show the last time. So now he had something to show. He had the white paper. So I'm like, yeah, his study was working, and he now has something to show. But that doesn't mean Dan hasn't worked too. I know he has worked too, have worked a lot. But then when I look, I see now in the past week meeting, he said he didn't have something concrete to show, so he was voted to a low position. So now I think he has deserved the spot. For now, he has something to show. So I kind of voted for him. And yes, Dan, I think voted for him. But then he said, yes, okay, everyone else is reaching the consensus, so it's okay for me. So he's saying that he also worked hard, so he also deserved the spot. But then others are agreeing on Taras, so he said that's okay. Okay, he deserves that too, so he can have it. So that's what I have to say. I was confused about the voting, so it changes the better. So I myself have some. I know that I don't deserve the top spot yet because I haven't done much work and all. But then, yeah, the voting system is a little confusing for me. But if it is changed, and we don't have to spend so much time debating about it. That's what I think.
Okay. Well,
Cool.
guys,
Sounds
to
good. Thanks,
move,
John.
to move on, if you agree, I wanted to let you all know that I'm going shopping Pomelo. So whoever belongs to this group and has a grant over there, please drop me a DM in Telegram. I'm Chip Chombia at Telegram, and I'll be extremely generous with 1 EOS for each of you guys who come here and who come to my Telegram and pitch yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jorge. And yeah, likewise, I'd be very happy to support people as much as possible who are in this group and coming to these Eden Fractal meetings. Very much appreciated. So if anybody wants to share Pomelo pitches in the chat or something like that could be helpful. And thanks, Jorge.
Can I talk about a project?
Sure. What project is it?
No, it's not mine, actually. It is a project that I stumbled upon, and I talked with the guys. I think it's really interesting, and they don't have much experience with EOS. I think they don't know the community and what's going on, but they are building the what you call the website on EOS. So the name is EO2 Earth, I think, and what they're doing is I don't know if you know about the regulated carbon market. So sorry, the electricity just went down, so it's dark here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's back up. Yeah. Okay. And then what they're trying to do is, they basically means there's an allowance for it's called carbon allowance. So it basically means a company can pollute this much. So there's company A and company B. and say company A can and B can pollute 100 units. So they can cause that much pollution. So if company B then only pollute for 50 units, they can then sell that units to company A for profit. So what this project is trying to do is they're trying to lock up this allowance and then tokenize it, so the company B can still get a value from the unused units. So they're causing less pollution, and they are getting paid for it. So they're causing less pollution, but their allowance is not going to another company. So if another company buys it, then they can pollute that much. So what they're trying to do is lock up that allocation, so it has a value, and replace it with tokens. So there is value for that carbon allocation, but then there's no pollution from that. So I think they're new to this EOS community, and or they don't know. They have a Telegram group, but they haven't got much members. So it's all, they have a formula pitch, and yeah, I think it has a great potential. It's not all based on EOS. It's not all on blockchain. It has real world implications, and the backend is working on EOS. So we can buy that token using EOS and stuff. So I appreciate if somehow you can join the Telegram group and support them, and maybe donate to the formula pitch. I know I'm not involved with the project, but I think it's a cool one.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, Joran. And yeah, it's great to see that project on EOS working to help the environment. I think it would be helpful to make the most of our time to focus these discussions on what we can do as an Eden Fractal community to help the Eden Fractal and help empower EOS and Eden as much as possible. So yeah, check out that grant. But I think if we focus on specifically what we can do, that'd be most helpful. An interesting discussion that I was following this week, and that I would be interested to hear people's thoughts about, is potentially at some point increasing the token distribution of Eden Fractal to many more people who aren't necessarily even participating in the Eden Fractal events. So the Fractally white paper outlines where there's like, I think 5 different places where people can get the respect and the fractal events. These meetups is only one place where people can also get the tokens by participating on social media and by doing some other things. There's discussion in the EOS chat where Mo, ZDS, and a couple other people were talking about a different Pomelo pitch where people could rank people, or no, not rank people, I'm sorry, where people could have a different sorts of reputations and different kinds of on-chain reputation mechanisms. So basically the idea that I was thinking is that we might want to explore different ways to distribute the Eden respect. So for one example, I know that Jorn is active in the BBS community, and it's potential that we could use something like that, an on-chain social media app that people could earn Eden respect as well. And then another idea is also the Eden NFT group is working to create NFTs for people who participated in prior Eden elections. So that's something that we could potentially also do, like a retroactive airdrop of Eden respect at some point to people who have participated in past Eden elections. There's also a lot of on-chain data throughout the EOS ecosystem. Like everybody who participates in an EOS fireside chat can earn a POP token. That's all on-chain, so we can tell easily who participated in all these different elections. I've been following different sorts of retroactive airdrops for a while. So for example, like there's the famous Uniswap retroactive airdrop for people who participate in Uniswap. There's a great musician named RAC who airdropped an RAC token to people who previously purchased like his album and went to his concerts and stuff like that. So there's a discussion that basically people who don't have the time or aren't available at this time for the Eden Fractal event can't necessarily earn the Eden respect just because of timing, but perhaps in the best interest of the Eden Fractal and the Eden and EOS communities, it might be helpful to also figure out ways to reward people who are contributing to EOS and Eden with the Eden respect. Just an idea. I don't think it's anything we should do like very soon, but I think it's something that might be very helpful to explore at some point. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts about that. And Felix, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Yeah, that, you know, this is interesting. Some thoughts that I think about is I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how, I guess, Fractally does it when it comes to the initial distribution of the tokens. But essentially, what we have here too is like we've created a token Eden, and we are in control of the distribution of those tokens. We're doing it the way we're doing it right now is just, you know, through these weekly meetings. But once we have the processes in place to reach consensus of how we can like proposals and accepting them, I can see this being where we can start coming up with proposals or start talking about how do we want to do the token distribution. When we have teams implemented, one thing that, you know, I think would be of super benefit to us would be to start putting we could start putting Eden tokens into like the respect, right? It's really, this is all about respect within Eden and EOS. So we can kind of, in a way, reach a way to kind of quantify the amount of respect that we're able to put out on the table for teams to form, and teams that that come to mind are like the ENF, Pomelo, Fractally, big members in this ecosystem that would bring a lot of value by basically, if they want to buy in by accepting these tokens that we set up for them, that would just help build this Eden Fractal. So that kind of, I think, adds some thoughts to what you were suggesting, Dan, in a way. But yeah, you know, like you said too, there's not much we can do until we have the governance, you know, some type of process for us to vote on these things. But, you know, these are things that we can start thinking about as well, of like, how do we want to handle our token distribution? Because essentially that's what we are doing right now. We're doing it in a very, you know, weekly manual process, and it's just like kind of linear right now. But once we launch a chain, it doesn't, like, is there going to be a multiplier? You know, I don't know how Fractally is planning on doing that with the respect that we've earned over there, but, and it'd be interesting to see what they're doing. And obviously, you know, we can reach consensus of what we think is, you know, I think it's going to be built out in the way that it's probably in the most fair way. We don't want to become like mega wells and just be in control. We want it to still be in very much the spirit of decentralization, to give everyone a fair shot, even the people that come years later down the road, to be able to come in and earn respect. And then, you know, obviously, if you're coming way down later, you got to earn it. But yeah, I think having a chain where people, it doesn't matter when you came in, like Bitcoin, for example, and all these other, you know, older chains, it's like, unless you're in at the beginning, you have no shot of being a top dog anymore, unless you put in a ton of money. So it's like, are those cryptocurrencies really going to survive years down the road, where the wells are in control? And the only way you can be a well is if you were there at the very beginning. Like, that's not a fair, you know, distribution of tokens. And that's not, I think, a system that people are going to want to elect and partake in, if that's going to be like truly a currency for the people, and that we all kind of are bound to. But yeah, those are just some thoughts.
Thanks, Felix. Sean?
First of all, I'm sorry if I went overboard with the Pomelo thing. I'm still learning. And another thing I have to ask is, can I bring someone outside of Eden to this meeting? So I heard, I heard this is like a platform to onboard people. So if I invite someone in and they start hearing everyone talking about their contributions and all, so they will not have anything to contribute. So how does that work? You know, is that possible?
Yes, please. Like, that will be a first example of like, hey, we just brought somebody in completely outside of the whole ecosystem. We got them set up with the EOS account, and that's our first, you know, KPI that we can use. So yes, all for it. Like, their contributions by participating in this, right? Like that's the one thing I want to clear in to everybody. It's like, you know, some people come, they're like, oh, I'm not bringing much. You taking time to do this is a contribution. Like, yes, it might not be a ton a value, but like you're spending time that could be spent elsewhere. You showed up. That's a value. That's a contribution. So like I think we need to narrow that into everyone who kind of comes in with that, like, oh, I'm not doing much. You are by showing up, you know. It might not be in the grand scheme of everybody else, but like you're still participating, and that's a value.
Get them to get an EOS account. That would be useful.
Yeah, that's the only thing. People have to have an EOS account to be able to participate. And so please just make sure that they have an EOS account beforehand, so we won't have to troubleshoot it live. But other than that, yeah, I agree with what Felix is saying, that we should definitely welcome new people, and then just be like kind and welcoming, and just explain how it works. And just being here is a big contribution in itself.
Yeah, I asked that because I talked with my friend. So he is the one who introduced me to the world of cryptocurrency. So yesterday I talked with him. I said a lot about EOS. It's going, this the community is taking over and all. And after a 30 minutes talk, he sent a message. Yeah, I bought some EOS, and and like, so I think no, that's not what I meant. So if I can, you try this. These are happening. So I want you to buy EOS and hold that. So there's use. You can use it. You can. There's a community. So yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, and to hop in really quick, some thoughts. We can start I know Dan's pretty like he's like on these like 30 minutes beforehand, and I would make the effort also. We can open back up. We had the networking part, which that would be perfect. That could be that 30 minutes before 13 UTC. So 12:30 UTC can be for onboarding new users. Then we can capture it on video too, right? And then that helps. Like I said, that helps this when it comes to advocating and Eden elections for more funding, all that stuff. Because we're like, hey, look, this is a KPI that we measured, and it's also on recording for validation. And yeah, that's just something to think about. I know, like I said, Dan is usually pretty. I also don't want to like say anything and like make you. I know you're pretty busy, Dan, too. But yeah, also, like I said, that's something I'd be willing to attend as well if that's of use. So if you want, we could set that up, Gian, next Eden ƒractal 30 minutes beforehand. Unless you want to set him up yourself, that's fine too. But just an idea.
Okay. I don't know if he's willing to come on camera, so I have to convince him all that.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I hope you can convince him, and then I look forward to meeting him sometime, hopefully. And yeah, I usually start the room a half hour early, so you can join it then, and we can also figure another time to speak with him as well.
And also, I think people are working on it, but then to make him acquainted with all this, I searched for some video or some articles. So, but and I went to YouTube and I searched EOS and all, and all I could find was video saying, what should we learn from EOS, the failure and so on. And then if I search Eden, then there's a lot of video about this meeting, and I can say it's a really problem. So if I am telling someone about Eden and the election and this meeting, I can refer them to anything. So I can say you can go and watch this meeting that's 1 hour long. And is there any resources for that? Just go and read this so you can understand more. Is there something like that available?
Yeah, there's lots of resources. I mean, just off the top of my head, I host the Hot Sauce every week where we do 20-minute summaries of things that are going on in EOS. I did a show about Eden a couple weeks ago. Charles also does longer shows, but they're awesome, and they're a great way where they're also Twitter Spaces, so they could ask questions to Charles, and Charles does a great job. There's also the eosnetwork.com site where you can, where there's lots of blogs, and there's the weekly reports and so forth. So there's lots.
And I know about if we have something that attracts new users, something gimmicky actually, or lights and stuff, something like that. I don't know. I searched, but I found I know about the EOS support and stuff. That all seems so technical. And then there's Twitter Spaces. So from where I'm around, people are not much into Twitter Spaces. So I don't know anybody, tuning into Twitter Spaces or watching, in my circle. So,
Guys, Jesse, sorry to interrupt, but Jesse's been with his hand up since a while, and so I've been.
Oh no, it's okay. No, continue. No, don't worry.
So I'm saying in my circle, I mean, the people around here, the friends, if I ask them to, you can watch this YouTube video, or you can tune into this space, they're not, they don't take the effort, but they can just point him to something to read, some article or blog. I think that would help more to get people interested. And then after that, so okay, they can attend meetings and stuff. Just my thought.
Okay. Well, yeah, thanks for sharing your experience, Sean. That's one of the things that I'm excited to do with this group, to incentivize more like really exciting short content to help people get into it. I would also suggest Felix's channel too. Felix has a bunch of great shorter videos from before he started posting a lot of the longer content. But yeah, there's a lot of content out there.
Yes. One more thing. So I just went around into Felix's channel and I found a video on your back, traveling 1,000 miles with only cryptocurrency. So I genuinely enjoyed that. Just letting you know.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, Gio.
Jesse, Jorge.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Regarding your proposal, I find it very attractive. I'll say we go for it. Actually, I created a post on Hive, whose link I'm just posting right now. It's called "On Passive Income and Value Discovery on Fractal Democracy," which touches exactly on this aspect, which is the possibility that people don't require necessarily to come to these meetings in order to gain the Eden token, which is a measure of the respect of the community. I'll say that we go for it and elaborate on it, meaning that we find ways to automatize systems so that, for example, if you don't create a video or content that happens to be very valuable for the community, and that value propagates over time, then over time you earn respect from that contribution. Pretty much as in YouTube, a content that was created 10 years ago is still earning value for his creator. So I'll invite you guys to take a look at my post. And yeah, I think that's the right direction to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge. Jesse.
Hey, I want to respond to one of the previous topics about distributing the Eden Respect token. So this can't be implemented now, but I just want to throw an idea out there for the future, which is if the Eden Fractal token has a value and is tradable with EOS, then we can add it to Tippet and we can do a swarm paying out in Eden Fractal token. And so we did that for the first time yesterday with Matthias, that the bees were paid out in Zeos. And it's, again, it's brand new for us, but it seems like it is a very powerful way to get your brand out there. Because if all these people hold your tokens, like we're asking, what could you do with Zeos? Like that was a lot of support questions. And by getting the token, and I think the idea is right to get the token into the hands of many people who are doing something for the Eden Fractal, maybe as little as just retweeting a tweet. And so I just want to, that's possible. It's functionally, it's technically possible. The Tippet team would just have to add it to their list and then we can do it.
Okay.
One thing I would like to stress is that if we do that, then the quantities have to be specifically chosen so that they don't affect the participation in these meetings, so that the amount of Eden earned by these meetings is somehow higher than whatever those distributions are given. Do I make myself clear?
Yeah, that makes total sense. We'd have to balance it so that I think that the biggest contribution is joining these meetings and being here and deliberating and so forth. So then that certainly, I think, would deserve the most respect. But people who are helping out to retweet here and there, if they could earn a bit of Eden respect as well, then that would be cool as well. And if people can help in other ways too, or if people have helped historically the Eden and EOS community in different ways, then those are all ways, and we could just use our governance process over time to figure out the relative values of those contributions. Cool. And yeah, I saw that swarm too. So we were talking with Jesse. Jesse did 4 swarms yesterday. So it's awesome to see all the progress with the swarms. And then also Matthias and Zeos put out a great thread about Zeos and a great blog post too. So if you guys haven't checked that out, it's great to see Jesse, Matthias, and everybody in the EOS ecosystem doing awesome things as well, and some really exciting progress happening.
Yeah, it was, we've never done 4 in one day before. So we're scaling up our processes to be able to do that. And yeah, it's been great. It's been great working with everyone in EOS, and we've been working on this for so long, and it's finally here. So I'm still in like the in the phase where it's like finally like it's happening. Yes. So yeah, it's been great. Yeah, thanks guys.
Yes, thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse.
Jorn?
It's nothing important. If someone has something to say, they can say. It's not at all much important. But they said they dropped Zeos token, so I have some Zeos token myself. So what do I do with that? That's the question. So I think there's someone I can explain here. Matthias can explain. Maybe just give me a hint where to go and do something. Maybe I don't know if it doesn't conflict with the meeting. Just nothing important.
Well, I think Matthias could answer that.
So I'm not sure if I caught the question. The audio quality was not so good. That's about the utility of Zeos, or?
And I think I have some tokens right now. So can I do something right now with that token?
With Zeos, so at the moment there's no privacy functionality or anything rolled out on the mainnet. So the Zeos token as it exists today on the mainnet is nothing but the standard EOS token contract with 0 utility. But it won't take too long. But yeah, I won't name any dates or whatever. But we are moving forward really, really fast. So definitely there's a lot to come for this year still. But yeah, again, I'm careful with what I say because people nail me on that.
Yeah, but I guess the headline, right, is you could do private transactions. That's the main thing. Yeah. Once it's live.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Right.
I had these tokens for a while. I thought maybe something happened. Yeah, I'll be waiting. Okay.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna have to be heading out, but it was a pleasure, as always. And thank you for everyone who was here. Yeah. And then I don't know, it'll be interesting since we're a little bit on the topics with Zeos. I know I'm working with Matthias where I got to pick his brain because that stuff is super complex. But it'd be cool. We can find a way to tie Zeos into here as well. So yeah, we'll figure that out as we go. But yeah, again, thank you guys. But I'm gonna be heading out here. Yeah, here in like 30 seconds. So
Cool.
See you guys.
Thank you, Felix, very much. On the topic of distributing tokens to other communities, another community that I would love to help reward with Eden Respect is the Fractally Genesis group, and then also with mutual respect too once the tokens go live, although I suppose that there could just be straight token distributions with all this on-chain data if we wanted to. That's something that we could discuss too. Also, I think maybe next week we can try to implement the interim governance process with the 4 to 6. It seems like everybody's in agreement there, but if anybody has any thoughts about that before we propose it, then that would be cool. I suppose we can also wrap it up. My meeting that's normally at this time got moved, so I'm able to stay at these meetings for longer now. But yeah, is there anything else that we'd like to discuss while we're here?
I didn't get the last part you said, the process proposal or something.
Which part was that, John?
The interim proposal, I didn't get that last part.
Okay, I'm not sure what you mean. I mentioned that
something we do next week.
Oh yeah, the interim consensus process. Are you familiar with that?
No, no.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I'll read that. If there's something to read.
Cool, sounds great. Yeah, I'll send you a link. Basically, something we've been talking about for the past few weeks now is that implementing an interim consensus process. So the Fractally Genesis group sorry.
And I'll if there's some documentation, I'll read that.
Yes, I just sent a message in the chat.
Yeah.
Basically, the idea is that right now we have no formal governance process by which to actually make decisions as a group. So this is an interim group consensus process. When the Fractal gets much bigger, then we can have a governance process similar to the Fractally white paper, whereby the top teams can vote. But for now, we can do it where people who are, I think, people who get ranked 4, 5, or 6 can vote on proposals every week. We can make proposals on the consortium app. And then if we want to make a proposal, like, for example, everybody must have an EOS account to participate, or everybody must wear a blue shirt to participate, if we want to do something silly like that, or we'll change the meeting 10 minutes later, something like that, all these different things like that, then we can come to consensus as a group using this consensus process. And there's really nothing holding us back from doing it soon. So I think that we should probably do it soon, maybe next week after we also get the Fractal Contribute Agreement. And then also, by the way, I encourage everybody to join the Fractal Genesis group meetings on Saturdays at 16 UTC as well. There's a lot that we can learn from that group, and it's also amazing. It's a fun time. So a lot of these lessons that we're learning, such as the interim group consensus process, can be learned at those meetings as well. And then you can earn respect at the Fractally Genesis group as well.
I'm off, guys. I've got a few things to do, so lovely joining in, and catch you soon.
Yeah, okay. See you later, man. Thanks for coming by.
Cheers, then. See you later.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. I'll see you.
So, mate.
All right. But yeah, you're right, Dan, regarding the voting process on governance. So far, we can do the same thing as Fractally. So yeah, the top 6, 5 could have a voting weight on proposals. Anyone could propose, anyone. And yeah, it's pretty easy to implement. So in the coming weeks, if we have decisions to make, we can make that our system, just as Fractally so far. Very easy to implement.
Cool. Sounds good. I agree. And yeah, I think that the only modifications that we can make is one, just voting on consortium rather than Hive and making the proposals there. That's already set up, so we could do it quite easily. And then I think because we have a smaller group, making it so people who are ranked 4, 5, or 6 can all vote rather than just people who are ranked 6.
Nice idea. All right.
Can I ask a question? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. The fractal meeting you talk about, the one on the Saturday is a separate thing, right? No.
Yes. Yes.
So if I have, if I am to attend that meeting, what should I do? Like getting into Eden. So we have an induction process or something. I read somewhere that you have to sign an agreement, just come and agree or something, and I'm not sure. So.
Yep. So there's no induction process. You can join and show up, but a couple of things that you need to participate in that is a Hive account, and then there is a ƒractal contributor agreement that needs to be signed by all participants on Hive, where you just go to Hive after you make an account, and then you click on like I agree after you read it, and then you can participate. And the goal of that meeting is to basically help ƒractal governance. So that basically summarizes it, and I can send you some links so you can learn more and join as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think I'll try.
Yeah, the agreement in itself is pretty easy and straightforward. You can read all the agreements on Fractally. It's very simple. So there's nothing in particular there, and no hard line. Nothing. No, it's very easy and straightforward. No worries. You can read all of it. It's very simple. Nothing complicated.
Yeah, it's I don't know, what happened in the past. So what happened with Eden and Fractal, and I'm confused. So I'm having conflict. It's like sub group. So I'm getting mixed feelings. I don't know who is true, or what to believe, or something, or mixed up for me. So trying to learn slowly. I'll try that.
Right.
Cool. Sounds great. I'm happy to hang out if people would like to discuss more and chill, and we could just talk about whatever, or I don't know, does anybody have anything you want to talk about?
Well, I was going to search for the interview between Chris and IFA that they did recently. I'm going to go check if that link has been posted. Very good to discover what he's been working on with them for Eden.
Yep, there was just the meeting that we had yesterday. Is that the one you're talking about, or a different interview?
No, it's a different meeting. I think he did a Zoom call with the IFA team, and it was made available for everyone. Yeah, and he recorded it apparently. I don't know if he has posted that Zoom call meeting there.
Okay.
But yeah, I bet he's been talking a lot about it in the chief meetings as well.
He's been talking about it here and there. And then, yeah, yesterday, I'm not sure if it's what you're referring to, but we did the meeting with Jorn was there as well. I believe there was like 10 Eden members or so. And then the 2 of the people from the Haifa team were showing us how it works and so forth. And I believe that he's sharing that recording somewhere.
Yeah, he has put it in the Eden's members chat. But there's no recording yet, I think. Oh, maybe yes, I will. I'll check it out. Yeah, basically the idea is, yeah, we have our Eden here. We love Fractally. We love what they're building. Eventually, we'd all want to implement and use their UI for this Eden Fractal for EOS network. And yeah, the idea would be for Eden on its own to build its own tools with IFA, with anything, and see where that got them. And in the parallel, we would be using Fractally. Let's see what's best and maybe merge the two together someday. But I'm glad he's advancing on his own with the IFA, building its own tools. We are doing our thing here with Fractally. He's doing his own with IFA. Testing more things is important. we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, I agree. Sounds good. And I think that the Hypha team just opened up, or maybe you're in the process of opening up the software for the Eden community to experiment with it as well. That's a takeaway from last meeting. So I think that we can play around with it either now or in the coming days. And I think that Chris and a couple other people will be sharing more details about it. I'm still not exactly sure how the Eden community would use Hypha. I feel like this ƒractal process has like really the most value that will empower the Eden community the most. And I'm not yet sure how the Hypha will fit in, but yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more and exploring more to see how it will work.
So that's why we're here. We've got more faith in the ƒractal process as a whole. But yeah, no harm in doing other things and testing other things. So yeah, the Hypha, I've seen a bit of the Hypha DAO, how it works. It allows the community to select delegates for specific roles. It allows to post mission jobs that people can take, like RFPs for specific things in the community. It's pretty complete too. And it implements various voting methods, and eventually would implement as well the political playoff system. So yeah, no harms in testing out things, but we'll do our own thing for now. See how the ƒractal goes for us. We've got more faith in that, at least for now.
Yeah, same. Likewise.
Well, on that note, I go myself, go back to work. But it's been a good meeting today. Great meeting in my breakout room, and as well as discussions that went on afterwards.
Cool. Sounds great. Thank you very much, Charles. It's always a pleasure. And yeah, I hope that you have a great time working and a great day. And I'm looking forward to seeing you throughout the week. Also, Maxim is heading out too. So it was great speaking with you too, Maxim, of course. And great meeting. Thanks, guys. Looking forward to next time.
Have a good day, guys. See you.
Yep. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye.
And Jordan, I just sent you the link to the ƒractal Genesis stuff too. So feel free to reach out with any other questions in the future.
Yeah, I'll do that. Check it out. Thank you.
Okay, cool. I'll also get going now too. So yeah, once again, thanks, Jordan, for all the things you've been doing. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to talking to you next time.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, I really do appreciate what you're doing. I know you've been doing a lot. And I also check out the Eden Creators page. Yeah, it's so superb. So if when that's all done, so I can say go look at that website, and I just remember that we do have something to show. So that's good.
Yes. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, thank you very much for checking that out and the kind words and all the great stuff. So cool.
Have a good day.
I'll talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye.